So, welcome back. Let's get started on this Sputnik track anyway. Finally invested in my little bit of a saw setup here. All the times I use a jigsaw or doing it by hand. Bit old school, but yeah, finally coming in a bit of the modern times and making my life a little bit easier. But still working on the floor, but we'll get there. Eventually, when I get a bigger property, we will have a decent sized workshop and we will be building lots of things in that. But let's get started on this Sputnik. So basically this one's going to be the same as the other one, just a little bit bigger in the width and the length, but just shorter in the height. So basically it's going to be 700 this way, 900 that way, and 300 up here. So what we're going to do first is actually build this bottom box. We'll put that together and then we can actually work on this top bit. So I'll start marking up this stuff and cutting that, and then we start putting it together. So let's start doing it. Zoe, in your bed. Alright, so those pieces are cut. All I need to do now is screw them together, complete the sides, and then we'll cut up the next bits for that. So I've got these 50 by 8 gauge screws, and then we'll go from there. So let's put these together. Right, so the two sides are actually set up now. This is where the loft will be, and this is where the front will be for the door. And then all we need to do is cut 4 to go in between here. And then we'll put them together. And then we need to make sure that we leave one out for now, and then we can adjust that a little bit later when we figure out where we're going to put down our folding landing board, and it's also entry cover as well. So I'll cut 4 of them for now, and then we'll put the 3 in and then see where we're at. So let's do that bit. Okay, so I've got these 3 in. This is the side that's going to be the front. I'll leave that out for now, but I've got that one cut here, which will basically just go down a little bit lower when I figure out where about that's got to go. This will be the back side into the loft. So that's pretty much it for now. I've just put those 3 in, screwed them in. Only using 1 screw each way at the moment, 1 down, 1 across, just so I don't split anything. And that's the smallest screws I could find. So once that all gets put together, we'll have a look if it needs any kind of stabilization. But as you can see, it's pretty good there so far, and it's only very partially finished. So let's move on to the next bit. So basically this is what I've done here to get this angle. I just cut that at 45. This only cuts at 45 the max anyway, so I've cut that at 45. Use this to get the square angle here, and then basically marked on the back side where I'm going to cut. So that's going to sit flush up against the loft. So I'll make 2 of these, 1 for each side, and I'll do the same for this piece. We'll go into that bit in a second, but first we'll cut this one, and then we'll move on to that one. Now we just got to cut this upright, which is basically lining that on top of there, making sure it's square in here, and then I just made a little mark there, which will be your 45. Then we cut it, and we do the same on the other side, and then we'll screw it together. So let's do that. So all screwed together, it's all good. Now I just need to put 1 bar across the top here just to hold a bit of support, and then we can move on to finishing this part of it. So let's jump into that. So got the supports in up the top there. Sat them down a little bit just so they're not in the way of the other screws, not going to make any difference. And I've decided not to put in a fold down landing board just because we've got quite a bit of room here and the extra length, unlike the other one. So I'll be fine with this. All I've done is put in another support along here and just recessed it in a little bit. That's actually 20mm, so that when we do make a door, it'll recess in there a bit perfectly, and we can put the latch on there. So that's the plan. Now I need to work on my actual wires, so the wooden dowels, try and get that perfect. So let's get into that bit there. Now working on the part where the dowels go into. I've cut both these at 840 so they'll sit in there perfectly, and measured and drilled all the holes. I have just drilled them in the center, and I've got some empty space here I'm going to cover up later on and just have these 4 entry points you'll see in a minute. And I just drilled them down 10mm, and I just use this bit of tape as a marker. So I need to cut the dowel and then install it in there. So I'm going to cut this dowel, which is 9.5 diameter, and yeah, it's pretty good. I used it in the old one, so let's get cutting. And there we are, drilled all the holes in there and put the dowels in, and then drilled it into place. These covers, I'm going to cover these sides up and just try and keep these 4 here, just so it gives them more birds more room, so they're not up against the wall when they're trying to drop in, open their wings up. So I'll cover them probably with like a clear see-through type of plastic material, like a hard one, and also these are screwed in quite well. We're going to have to paint these ones. We didn't paint the last ones in the other trap, and they did crack a little bit, so we need to make sure we seal these ones. So that's basically about it. From hole center to hole center here is 125mm, and that height is also 125mm in here. So it's pretty much 125 square, which is pretty much a good size. I made the other ones a bit big, but learnt from that and made them a little bit smaller, so that's good. Another thing you can do if you want, you can pretty much just chop this off here and then basically just run a little lid on there if you want, and not have this top bit. That's something we probably might do. At this point we might just keep it for this. And I've just got to move this up a bit because I'm going to put a door in the back here. You'll see later, but it gives me the opportunity to open and shut it, so I might just move that up now. So I had to make a little bit of a change. I took off the angle just because it was probably about 1 inch too high to actually go into the loft to sit underneath the corrugated iron. So basically all I did was chop it off here and then make that bracket go out there, put in 2 cross members here, and done the same on the other side. So basically that's how it looks on the side, which is pretty straightforward. I just got to go around and give it a tidy up, a few little bits and pieces that are not 100%, but it was a bit of a cut and shut, but we're learning as we go. This one's going to be heaps better. Already feels a lot better than the other one. And this whole back section will be a door, so it'll either tilt up, latch up there, or I might even tilt down, latch it down there yet. So there's options. Could even come this way, but you can already see this one's got much more room for the birds to land, drop through the hole and drop into here, and then they can't go there if that's shut. And obviously if you want to put the ETS pad here somewhere, then you can, and they'll drop down onto that. So much better than the other one. We might go out, sit this one up beside the other one, just see how it looks. So that's basically it for today. I need to go out there, feed the birds, and basically tidy all this up. I'll pick this up again tomorrow, hopefully get this thing installed over the weekend, and we can start trap training all our birds back into it, especially all the young birds, which will be pretty good. And I might even need to go down and buy some clear sheeting if that's the way I want to go for the sides, and then keep this as a drop down wide door front, which hopefully, if we got the material, it will hopefully sit in there nice and neat like that, and we can drop the door down and let them out. Much more room. Basically this is 90 centimeters this way, and then it's around about 30 centimeters high, so plenty of room there. And I've gone 70 centimeters from here down to here in that width, so you can see there's heaps of room there. And we can even put the watering trough in there as well, which let's get that and see how well it's going to fit in there. Heaps of room. That's exactly what we want. Be able to get the birds in there, they'll be able to have a bath. So this is going to be much better. So I'm pretty keen to get this in. Like the other one, I'm going to give it a paint, because that's going to help just seal everything, make it last a lot longer, because this is dress pine and does not last in the weather. So I'm going to hit it with the really good quality weatherproof paint, and that'll seal it up. So once we get this finished, then we'll go over and give it a full birthday. But it's looking pretty good. Pretty excited about this one. Much better than the other one, so let's just get this one in and done. I'm going to catch you guys later. Drop some comments down below. Get ready for the second part.